You know how you get all kinds of scraps when you are cutting and making great cards out of your designer series paper? Let's do a card today using up only scraps. So this is how I keep my scraps. This is the paper, which is called a little latte. And let me show you all of the sheets. So here they are. You get two that are great for cutting out images. Then you have some coffee beans, some splatters, some marbled kind of paper for these last two, and these gorgeous colors. And then on the opposite side, you have all kinds of lighter colors. So we've got some beans on Calypso Coral. This one is great with these hearts. There's Lost Lagoon, just some stripes, some plaid, and some little cups, and also some splatters, some coffee rings. So there's all kinds of great colors in here. But when you're cutting, you end up with all this kind of stuff, right? So you have all kinds of little bits here and there. So I want to show you how you can maybe think about using some of these for a great card. So what you want to start with is a piece of your just plain basic white. And I have all the measurements on my blog for this card, so you can head on over there. And then I'm going to, there's always strips. So I always have strips left over of all different designs. There's some bigger ones, there's some longer ones. So you can decide on how big your piece of paper is, but I want this to be the focal point on my card. And I think I'm just going to lay these strips on here, and they're probably going to go over the edge. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just doing some placement. Let's see what they look like. And we may not like how it looks, but it might be okay. So you have to be happy with what you end up with. So if you like how it's looking, perfect. Now I need one little one over here, and I don't think I want to repeat this one, but maybe that guy on the end. Okay, so there we have that. Now the one thing we don't have any of the green in there. Do I have any of the green? Oh, here's the green over here. I think if I add in the green, it might be a little bit too much. So maybe I will either get rid of this guy and put a piece of green in. Well, I think I sort of like the, I like that in there. Okay, so you have to play here. And when you do, what you're going to do is you're going to glue these all down. So this is just a matter of personal choice. So you will like different combinations than what I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue everywhere. Okay, so this is also just letting your creativity run. So I'm going to put this one here. And I like the dark on the edge, because if I decide I'm going to turn this paper the opposite way, then this is really going to anchor it well. And then I think we had this guy in there. So I'm lining these all up to the top right now. I don't care that they're all different lengths here at the bottom. And what you do want to look for is you want to have some variety in your sizes. So I wouldn't want to put this one right next to here, because it's the same width. And this one here is narrower than that one, so I'm okay with that. So, you know, I didn't think about how I was going to do this, so you don't have to. Maybe I'll put that one next. I know I changed my mind on that one. It already looks a little different from how I had it. And I want that one in there, or I want this one in there. I like this one, but then I'm going to have to cut myself one tiny little piece, one tiny little strip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little strip of glue down here. And we are just going to add that last little piece. So again, if this is uncomfortable for you, this is great play. You know, if we gave these pieces to a 5-year-old, wouldn't they have a ball? And we always take too much time worrying about things. I want to have a little bit more color there to go with that one in the middle. Okay, so now we've got those all together. Now you're going to bring in your trimmer, and if you have a small trimmer like this, works wonderful. If you have a bigger trimmer, it works great too. So I'm going to take the size of my white, and you notice that I was working on my silicone craft sheet there. That allows any of those pieces of glue to get caught on the silicone craft sheet. So I am going to have some scraps left over, different size, but that's okay, because we can reuse them for something else too, right? And we might want to use these on the inside of our card. Okay, so we've got these pieces. I'm going to leave this one out because we might want to use that one. Now these guys, I'm still going to keep, especially this one. But these little ones, they're gone. Okay, so let's create the rest of the cards. So what we have is a piece of paper where we have created just our own designs. Now, if I wanted to go this way, those hearts are okay going that way. I think I'm instead going to go this way though. So I'm going to go with a portrait orientation for my card, and I am now going to cut out of it. So I'm going to cut using the countryside corners. So I would recommend nested dies, and I'm going to show you why in just a minute. And you want ones that have a fairly good size to them. So I'm going to go for this guy, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. So we're going to cut out somewhere here. Now, if I'm going to cut this out and I still want to be able to see the hearts down there, then I can cut right off to the side, which I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this through and run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, so we're going to run that through. You want to try and keep that nice and straight. This is what you are left with. Okay, so you've cut out a piece that we can use for a second card, and then I'm just going to take my Post-it notes off. There we go. Now you do want to make sure that when you put it down that you've put a fair bit of glue, so all of these pieces are going to be stuck down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece again, and we are going to nest the next one inside of it. So I'm going to do that on a piece of our Early Espresso. Now the easiest way that I have found to do this is to do the smaller one first and put it down, and then put the bigger one around it. And then when you do that, you should be able to see, you should be able to line it up so that you have the same amount of space all the way around. And you want it fairly straight in there. And then you're going to run that through. And when you do, you're going to have a frame like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to add some white just to the back here. So when you're cutting, make sure you give yourself just a little bit over here that you're going to be able to glue your white in behind. Now if I were putting this onto a white card, I wouldn't need to put the white in behind, but I'm going to put it onto a darker piece of cardstock. So we're just going to place that right over top. So you do just need to make sure that your particular piece of white is going to be big enough for whichever dies you have. And then we're going to place this die right back inside. So you've created a frame, and we're going to just glue this in, and you want to just try and get as close to the corner as you can. So also note, so here when I say about having your glue, I must not have had any glue in this part right here. So I'm going to add some glue right there because that wants to come up. Okay, and then you're just going to place this right inside over top of your glue, and it'll fit in there perfectly. Okay, so we've just created our frame. Now we're going this way. Now what we want to do is just decide on the rest of our colors. So I'm going to go on to a Early Espresso piece of cardstock. Now I can decide that I'm going to go on to another piece here first if I want, or I can just go straight onto there. And I actually think I'm just going straight on with this one. I don't think I need to have a piece of cardstock in there behind because there's enough color happening here everywhere around. So what I do need to do though is that little piece up here is sort of bothering me because it's not stuck down real well. So I'm going to add hopefully tiny little bit of glue right in behind here. Okay, so just hold that down for a moment. So you do all make sure that all of your pieces are stuck down. Okay, so that is going to go right on here, and then we're going to do the rest of the decoration on the card. So let's get started with that, and then we'll put it together. So this is the Latte Love bundle. This is the stamp set and the dies, which are wonderful. And we are going to do a little bit of stamping here. These are photopolymer stamps, and I have Pecan Pie and Early Espresso. And I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Pierce mat, which is always going to give me a better impression when I'm stamping with my photopolymer. So I have pulled in a few different things here. So we've got some of our beans. What I have, I'll show you. I've pulled in these beans and these ones. The Hello There, Let's Catch Up, the cup itself, and then this piece right here, which is amazing how this really completes the cup. Let me show you. So I'm going to stamp with Early Espresso. And this is the inside showing the coffee. So this is going to go right, so the cup right now looks a little bit incomplete. So I'm just going to place this right in here, and instantly you have a cup of coffee. I think that's so cool. And then I'm going to stamp a couple beans over here and the trio of beans. Well, there's actually 4 there. I'm also going to pull in a piece of pecan pie, which is this brown right here, and that's where our words are going to go. A little bit crooked. So I am going to do a little bit of coloring onto the cup, and I'm not going to do it all. I just want to show you the colors that I used, and then I have a completed one here. This is the deep of the Stampin' Blends, and this is pecan pie. So I started with the deep on the outside edges, and I just came in. So it's almost like our early espresso. It's really darn close to it. So this went everywhere, sort of on the edges, down at the bottom, and gave myself a little bit of shadow. Come up like this and in from the corners. So I always start with my darkest color around the outside edge. And I'm just going fairly quickly here. And then I put in a little bit of the next deep, which has a little bit more red to it. So that's the next color coming in. And then I went into my pecan pie. So here's my dark pecan pie. And because I'm going for a larger space, I can actually use my brush tip here. And I'm just, rather than coloring in circles, I am just going with straight lines. So I'm coming in and I'm going to create that little bit of lighter across. And I just want to show you that really quickly and then bring in the final one. And then here's the lightest. Okay, so then I play with that a little bit, and what I end up with is this. Okay, so that's pretty much all I did. And then I also colored in our beans. So I have those. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to take what we have and we are going to put it together. We're going to glue this down. And again, if you had a piece of white, if I were putting this onto a white card, I wouldn't have needed to put that white in the back of it. And get that nice and straight on there. And then I've already put some dimensionals on the back here. And I'm going to place that lightly. I'm not too sure how I want to actually get that on there yet. I'm going to just do a diagonal cut here just to make that. And I think maybe some beans. Where did I have those other beans? Here they are. So let's pick this up. Let's make it not quite so crooked. But I just want it to be a casual kind of card. So hello there, let's catch up. Because there's so many straight lines here, I'm fine with putting these items crooked. So let's put that across. I'm going to put a dimensional here. I don't want to have too many dimensionals. So all I'm going to do is glue the rest of this to the actual cup. There you go. We're going to put on some of our beans. So I think maybe I'm going to put this one down here with some glue, and we'll just place it. It's going to peek from behind the greeting. There you go. And this one here is on a mini dimensional already. Let's put that over there. And let's put this one here. So then I have this guy here, which is also going to show some dimension. And I don't think we need that last one. So we're just going to put a piece of white on the inside of our card. Now we can always use this in here as well. We could stamp on that if we wanted, but I think I'm probably going to save this for another card. So you can get 2 cards out of 1. But what I am going to do is I am going to put some of this paper, that piece that we had, and I'm going to run it down the inside of my card. So then I've just glued down that last little piece, and I have this little piece that wants to come off. I'm going to trim that off just quickly, and then that's just going to go onto the card. And if we wanted, we could take that last little bean, but he might be sort of lonely. He's sort of lonely down there. But what we can do is we can stamp a couple more of these beans, and we'll leave them uncolored. So let's just put this down here. And maybe this guy here, this guy, and let's put a couple up here as well. Okay, so we have the card. So all you're going to do is use up some of your paper to create a great background, and then you're going to get a second card out of whatever you cut out. And if you really feel the need, you could put some of the swirl dots on here. Let's see if we can maybe just put one over here. Go. And then that is just a final little completion of your card. So there's your card. I hope you enjoy that. So thanks very much for joining me. I hope you'll like this card. If you do, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you'd like a free card making tutorial, head on over to designwithjo.ca. I'd love to have you join in. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.